And we are back with Logan, George, and Celine Held, and we're going to talk about their new movie, Topside. So you guys first premiered Topside in 2020 to fantastic acclaim, both for the acting and directing and in the technical aspects of the film. Can you tell our audience what the film is about?
Yes. This is a movie about a mother and daughter who live in the underground tunnels beneath New York City. And after a police-mandated eviction, they are forced topside into the world above, where they're faced with a really horrible winter night and have to figure out how to survive together.
Now, I thought I read somewhere that this might have was this originally going to be a short?
No, but our short, Caroline, was a proof of concept for Topside in a lot of ways. It's a mother-daughter story about a family living beneath the poverty line, where we're just interested in exploring characters that aren't heroes or villains. That's true of all of our shorts, but especially of Caroline and Topside, where tough decisions are made, and we hope we can keep the audience on board, but ultimately we're not exploring a hero's journey. We're exploring something that's a lot different.
Now, the interesting thing is you mentioned hero's journey, and I've watched the film, and I've read somewhere that you said that you felt that people should have a certain feeling after watching the film, and I'll tell you, I had a little difficulty sleeping a little bit after, and to be frank, I was honestly. I remember seeing My Girl for the first time and being honestly pissed off at the ending of My Girl. And then over time he goes, and I had a little bit of that, and then I woke up this morning and I went, I get it. That's the way it really should have ended. You know what I mean? And so it was really interesting I don't want to throw any spoilers out there, but you know, the last 15 to 20 minutes, definitely riveting. And then the very ending, I was like, why? And then I wake up this morning and I go, I get it. Yep, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, we wanted to certainly not try to tie things up in a bow and allow you to compartmentalize the story and sort of like, put it on a shelf, be like, okay, I can put that behind me, because the problems that it explores in our society are, still very ongoing and in many cases getting worse. So we definitely the idea was always to trap you into the story, to sort of take you along and then really, press full on the gas for those last 20 minutes, like you're saying, and sort of like get you caught up in the actual physical sensation of what it would feel like. And then to certainly, leave you with a lot of questions about what's going to happen in the future for the characters.
And is that why you felt it was important to make this particular film?
I think we've done a lot of research before making this film. We made a couple of documentaries, one of which was supposed to premiere at South by also in 2020 on street homelessness, and another that we just recently finished editing that's on mothers and children currently living in shelters. These stories are not easy to digest. They are not simple. They don't fit into boxes. We spend a lot of time also with a couple of different cases in Child Protective Services, which is called ACS here in New York, at court and at the Children's Center on 28th and 2nd. And this stuff is, it's horrifying. It's super scary. And there are different situations that just don't kind of line up a lot of the time. I think when we wanted to make this story, we wanted to make something that felt cinematic, that felt like something you'd never seen before, but that also felt honest. And I think allowing Little to have a different conclusion would not have felt like a choice that we wanted to put out into the world to say like, oh, look, like this movie character, she's going to be fine.
Well, and I think it's important in the aspect that the protagonist, and you played the mother in the film, right, Celine? I think it's important for people to associate with people in those situations, because it's too easy when those who are not homeless to look at people who are, and I think what happens is a lot of people don't associate with them, and this puts you almost in that place of that character, so that now maybe you have a different understanding of them and what they go through. You know what I mean? I know I did, at least for me.
That's great. Yeah, no, I mean, everything about the cinematography and the nature of how information's communicated is very much meant to be from the character's perspective. So we never wanted to be sort of having a top-down approach of looking at the story. You're really like experiencing things through Little's eyes and taking in the world from her perspective. And hopefully that allows you to sort of just like really give yourself to the story and be able to put yourself in that situation physically.
What were the logistical challenges? Because, I mean, you're down there basically in the tunnels. Obviously, the lighting work was just so spot on. You know, that had to be a bit of a challenge, I would presume. And, you know, and then you've got, you know, the natural noises, which are sometimes helpful to what you're doing, but then I presume sometimes not. What were some of the logistical challenges to making a film like this?
Well, all the underground, the real, like, where their community is, that we all filmed in Rochester, New York. And they had an abandoned tunnel that was actually built in the same decade as the tunnel that we based the story off of, which is a real tunnel called the Freedom Tunnel that's in New York, in Manhattan proper. But in Rochester, we actually didn't have to deal with too many sound issues because it's off from the city itself, and so that wasn't an issue. But it is a total black box. So when you're down there in the tunnel, there's
you can't see your hand.
Zero light, and it's a good 1.5 mile stretch. So it was a huge challenge to be able to not only get the work lights necessary to be able to build and to operate as a film crew in there, but then to also be able to light, you know, the scenes that we wanted to, given the nature of what we were filming, which was we wanted to film this child, you know, in a natural element and have the flexibility to, you know, pan 180, you know, 270 degrees if we wanted to.
I'll be frank, my undergrad was at RIT in Rochester, and to be frank, the weather in the tunnel is probably better than the weather up Topside in Rochester. I have a joke, which is there's only 3 seasons in Rochester: winter, spring, and road repair.
Yeah,
well,
and
we
true.
did have a few. We had a what's that called? The thing that provides power to the tunnel.
Generator.
Yeah, sorry, generator, which was above ground. And so every time it was raining or there wasn't a weather issue, we ended up having to shut down. It was a lot.
Which was 2 out of every 3 days in Rochester. That's 2 out of every 3 days in Rochester. You know, it's
exactly.
So, Celine, you played the part of the mother in this, and there's a lot that the mother obviously goes through, and it's very you know, emotional. Was it taxing on you? Did you find it emotionally impacting who you are as a person once the cameras went off?
I think I was able to separate myself from it. There's a scene with Nikki and John at the end, which is when he says that line that kind of changes everything for Nikki, where he says she could have a future now, something like that.
She has a chance.
She has a chance now, and I was able to. I surprised myself in being able to separate myself so much that when we were shooting, Derek, who plays John, he's the rapper Fat Lip from the band Farside, that I was able to direct him even while, like, this is ridiculous, but while crying. And so I was able to direct him because we were in a real tunnel with real trains going by. Logan was far away, and it was a cool moment for me where I don't know if I'll act again soon or ever, but it was incredibly taxing. I didn't wash my hair for over a month for that role, which will never happen again, Mother.
And it was evident, by the way. It was evident. I could see that.
And it was a lot of tears. It was a lot of tears. So it was tough to stay in that place for that long, but I was able to shut it off.
Well, we really appreciate having you guys on the show today. Geez, wow, just a riveting film. Ladies and gentlemen, Logan George and Celine Held.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
David.
Thank
So
you,
fun
David.
to talk to you.
Thanks for being here.